Well, I know I'd said I'd only take a quick break after completing Neograb, but I guess I underestimated how tired I was, because I immediately fell asleep after deciding to lay down on my bed. To be honest, I'm not really as excited to continue this as when I started the other worlds. Probably just because I'm dreading that they'll be just as obnoxiously long as Neograb. But there's no point worrying when I still need to document what's in the rest of this ROM hack. On to World 6. Planet names are just getting weirder as this goes on. Great. Serped seems to be just as, if not more convoluted than Neograb. At the very least, the music is nice, I guess. It's a tranquil yet very somber tune. On the other side of the board, there thankfully isn't any land that I'm unable to access, and there's only 3 bosses total this time. So maybe this world won't be so bad after all? Probably just my wishful thinking, which has hardly done any good for me so far. The levels are Graveyard, Palace, Village, Glacier, Stalactite, Valley, Introspection, Thunder, Sunken, Lakebed, Moonlight, Lament, and Tower. Quite a bit more level types than Neograb, which is concerning, especially if this means the next world will have even more than this. The fact there's only one of the Introspection and Thunder levels has me intrigued, but also a little worried. Anyways, the bosses are Crystalac, Bagora, and Giragon. I have no idea who any of them are, aside from Giragon, who must be a fusion of Gigan and Baragon. But again, I'm glad there's only 3 in this world. Without further ado, it's time to finally start the first level. The Graveyard is about what I expected from the name of the level. There's a very melancholic vibe here. It almost reminds me of Regner's Execution levels. The music is also surprisingly tense, so I'm a little worried about what might happen. The first enemy type here is a winged claw mouth thing. It isn't that difficult to deal with, but it's sure got a weird looking head. There's also something skulking around on the ground, but it seems harmless. Whoa! I guess they aren't harmless after all. As you can see, those crawlers like to leap up and take a chomp out of Mothra. They caught me off guard the first time, but I can easily avoid them by just keeping near the top of the screen. Occasionally, one of these pillars will show up, but they always have some kind of destroyed statue on them. I wonder what that's about. Oh look, it's the messenger. I forgot he always shows up in the first level of each world.
Greetings, Anthony. You have yet again defeated a prison keeper, and so I have rewarded you once more. However, this may be the last time we meet. Your next destination is not where I am welcomed. Please, do not falter on this quest.
Oh, wait, hold on. Damn it! I wanted to talk to him some more. Well, it sucks that I won't see him again, but I still gotta press on. I just realized he addressed me by my real name. I guess that's just something stored in the data of this game now. Oh hey, it's a non-destroyed version of those statues from earlier. That's cool. God damn it, why does Serped have to immediately start with another mini-boss? Anyways, this statue's attacks seem to be limited to just slashing and firing a laser from its sword. It can also use its sword to block my attacks, but thankfully the piercing wave goes right through it. Man, am I glad this move is overpowered. Alright, it's starting to crack now, so I think it's almost... Whoa, the hell was that? I assume this guy shot out that fireball. He doesn't look too friendly. Wait, what the hell? I mean, I'm not complaining about getting another playable monster, but that felt very out of the blue. So, Yongari, huh? I somewhat recognize the name and look, but I'm pretty sure he's not a Godzilla monster. Then again, I don't think Tricephalon was a Godzilla monster either, so who really cares? Anyways, I'll send Yongari to the village levels and hopefully get accustomed to his playstyle before I have to fight Crystalac. Holy crap! Yongari is strong as hell. His life and power bars nearly reach the edge of the screen. I'm starting to feel like I maybe wasn't supposed to have unlocked him this early. His level number is also glitched out, but I don't think that matters. Anyways, onto the level itself. It seems to be a riverside town, much more medieval looking than the high-tech stuff of Neograb. There's also lots of creatures mulling about, but they don't seem to care about me. In fact, they almost seem sad. Even the music here sounds a little somber. There's also no enemies here, which on one hand makes this a nice respite, but on the other hand it means I'll have to figure out Yongari's attacks while fighting a boss. I suppose while I'm here, I might as well ask this guy in the window why everyone seems so distraught.
Why are we so sad? I'll tell you why. It's because our king has fallen. The others won't admit it out loud, but deep down they know it's true. Now leave. Let us grieve in peace.
Oh, well, now I feel really bad for these guys. I guess I should get going though. Hopefully the Crystalak fight won't be too hard. Wow, Crystalak has way less power and life bars than Yongari. Maybe this won't be so bad after all. Anyways, Crystalak is some sort of crystal-y monster who acts a lot like Gyra did, being a very fast and aggressive boss with lots of up-close attacks. Thankfully, unlike Gigan, Yongari can actually crouch. He can't tail whip like Godzilla, but I'll take what I can get. Yongari's main attacks are biting and kicking, which in theory wouldn't be great to use against a physical attacker like Crystalak, but my attacks do so much damage it doesn't really matter. Crystalak isn't limited to just punches and kicks though, because he also has some kind of crystal beam he fires from his mouth. Thankfully, Yongari can shoot out giant fireballs that are way stronger and somehow don't require much power. And if all of that wasn't enough, Yongari can also breathe out fire that spreads across the ground and does a hell of a lot of damage. It also uses up a ton of power, but I think that's a fair drawback since it can absolutely incinerate Crystalak. GLACEIR takes place in an Arctic kind of area, I guess, with the walkable terrain being a sheet of ice over the water. It has quite a relaxing vibe, honestly. The music especially is really pleasant. The flying enemies from the graveyard levels are back, but what's more interesting to me is the return of platforming, which I haven't had to deal with since Regna. I'm still just gonna assume that falling in the pits will mean instant death. There's a bear-looking enemy here that has a head similar to the aforementioned flying enemies. It doesn't have any crazy abilities, it's just really damn strong. Good thing that Yongari is too. There's also a lobster enemy that can snap its claws shut super fast in order to fire a projectile. Not exactly sure how that works, but I do know that they like to be annoying and camp at the edges of the ice. Also, sometimes an iceberg will drift by in the background. Near the end of the level I found something kinda interesting. One of those bears was fishing for these weird eye seals. I killed it pretty quickly with Yongari's fire breath, but it's still a neat detail. You know, Yongari's cool and strong and all, but honestly, he makes the levels and bosses pretty boring. I can't believe I'm actually complaining about the game being boring after the chaos that was Neograb. Anyways, I'm gonna take a break from the new guy and check out the palace levels with Gigan. Palace just straight up starts inside the titular location. I was kinda expecting to start outside, but whatever. It seems like this place is in a state of disrepair, judging by the cracked pillars and smashed windows. I'm also getting a strange vibe from the music here. I can't really describe what it sounds like. Now these creepy frozen bodies are appearing throughout the level. I'm not sure why, but I get the feeling that these guys weren't the normal residents here. There's also a nice painting in the background. I wonder who that's for. Oh god. Are these the corpses of the people who lived here? I guess this place really was ransacked. But then, who the hell are these frozen intruders? Ugh, every step I take in here there's another corpse. This is genuinely making me feel sick to my stomach. On an unrelated note, there's another painting on the wall here, but this one's been torn up. God, I really would love for this level to end soon. The second palace level unfortunately seems to be just as horrible, but this one starts off right in front of a large door. I guess those two bodies were the last defense. Anyways, nothing else to do but enter the door. The large door seems to have taken me to the throne room, judging by this impaled body who I assume is the king. I suppose that resident from the village was right after all. But I do wonder why the king would be frozen. It makes sense that if the people here had ice powers, they'd freeze the intruders. But why the king? Anyways, there's a note on the floor that I can read by pressing up. So I guess I'll do that. Huh. This note is long enough for me to have to scroll down. Well, I guess that somewhat explains what happened here. But now I have even more questions. Who the hell are Tonitrum and Umbra? Wait, something's happening to the king. The hell just happened? Well, after that, the screen faded to black and the level ended. I was about to take Godzilla into some levels, but I just noticed how surprisingly cold my body is right now. I've even got goosebumps all over my skin. This pretty much never happens to me at this time of year. Maybe I should stop playing this game so late at night. Now that I'm back in the village after seeing the aftermath of whatever happened at the palace, I feel even worse for these guys than I did before. I just wish there was some way for me to help them, although I assume that either Tonitrum or Umbra is gonna be the prison keeper of Serped, so I guess I'll be helping them out in that way. Hang on, this person here looks important. They've even got a fancy wizard staff.
Ah, hello there, traveler. My sincere apologies for not welcoming you here sooner. My name is Optics. What is yours?
Oh, my name's Anthony.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Anthony. Although you have come here at an unfortunate time, the residents here have been in a state of distress for a few days. But if there's anything you want to know, don't be afraid to ask me.
Well, in that case, what happened here? Like, what's the history of Serped?
That is a fair question, but the answer is quite complicated. Come with me to the museum. That should help make things clear.
I trailed behind her and she's led me to what I assume is the museum. No idea how I missed this building when I went through here as Yongari, but this is technically a different village level, so I suppose it makes sense.
In this building is where all of our history has been stored for decades, though it is quite dark in there, so please watch your step.
I mean, this game pretty much only uses the X-axis, so I'm not sure how I'd even trip. Anyways, into the museum we go. Wow, she was not kidding about this place being dark. Wait, now the screen is getting even darker.
Far before even I was born, there have been conflicts between the western and eastern sides of Serped, almost always over land ownership. And for many years now, the leader of Western Serped was Arctis, and the leader of the eastern side was Tonitrum. Arctis was a benevolent king, and he anointed 4 of his most trusted citizens to be his advisors, as well as being given other important roles. Those 4 advisors being Morosia, a general, Somburr and Tristis, both architects, and myself, the archivist. Whenever the king was too busy, we were who the citizens turned to for help. However, a new threat has recently appeared. Umbra. No one has seen Umbra itself. However, several of its soldiers have ventured over to our land, and it has supposedly damaged a large majority of Eastern Serped. 1 week ago, we had a momentous victory over Tonitrum and his army. After the celebration at the palace, Arctis and Morosia began planning an expedition to fight Umbra's soldiers in Eastern Serped. That expedition departed 4 days ago, and I have heard no word from them or anyone from the palace since.
Oh, I suppose that's the end of the exposition dump. Honestly, I was so immersed in her talking that the sudden snap back to the museum kinda surprised me a little bit.
That is all the relevant information I have for you, but I appreciate you listening to me talk. It has been a very stressful time for me, so this may be the most peace I get for a while.
Well, no worries, I guess. This might be a dumb question, but what exactly has you so stressed?
Well, since the king and the other advisors are seemingly missing, I'm the only one who can help and lead the people, but I don't feel like I can help anyone here at all. I just wish that Morosha was here. She was always strong enough and kind enough to be a leader. Without her to guide me, I just feel lost.
Oh, I don't know what else to say other than I'm sorry. I'm also now realizing that I'd feel real scummy if I didn't tell Optics about what I saw in the palace, since she doesn't seem to know.
I see. I had my suspicions about what happened, but I didn't want them to be true. I'll tell the citizens what happened later, once I've come to terms with this new information. Stay safe, Anthony.
After that final interaction, the level ended, and I just realized this is like the 4th time I've been way too immersed in my fake conversation with a fictional video game character. I really should stop playing this game so late at night. I'm back in the GLACEIR levels as Godzilla this time, and I can confidently say that they're far more fun when I'm not playing as a super overpowered monster. Ah! The hell is this? Don't know what's up with those tentacles, but I assume that's gonna be a stage hazard now. For some reason. Just as I started thinking this game was fun again. Thankfully, the tentacles are pretty easy to feint. Just gotta pretend to jump further than I really will. Plus, I can trick the tentacles into killing the other enemies. Whoa, I guess there's a mini-boss here now. It looks like a way bigger version of those weird eye seals that the bears fish for. The mini-boss's attacks are pretty simple, mainly just swiping with its flippers, but it can also fire a bunch of wave projectiles from its head, kinda like the ones Mothra has. Fortunately, the guy who made this ROM hack decided to be nice and have the waves be just above Godzilla's crouch height. Interestingly, when the mini-boss dies, only its head does the usual explosions into fading out thing that all the enemies do. The rest of the body is just still there. At least it had the courtesy to drop health. The valley level feels pretty self-explanatory, though I like the snowing effect here. The music is also pretty nice. It sounds wintry, if that makes sense. There's some new enemies here with these hook-handed things. They are surprisingly persistent considering that they die pretty easily. Also, the movement of Godzilla feels weirdly sluggish when he's walking in the snow, which is kinda annoying. God, these enemies just don't stop coming, do they? Damn. Well, I appreciate the gesture, but having to watch out for even more enemies in the snow is gonna be annoying. Unfortunately, the snow has gotten more intense, to the point that its sounds are actually slightly overpowering the regular level music. This is also gonna make the enemies in the snow harder to see, which sucks. Ugh, the snow here is only getting worse. I can hardly see the screen now, let alone the things hiding in the snow on the ground. Speaking of, those enemies only do like a bar of damage, but they're still pretty annoying. Jesus, the blizzard has gotten so bad it's covered the whole damn screen. At least the characters' silhouettes are visible. The music is also pretty much completely gone now, just the sounds of the blizzard. Whoa, this guy looks new. I wonder if he's an enemy or not. Jesus! Something just came out of nowhere and skewered that guy. Okay, the music's gotten more intense now, but I'm sure an atomic breath can take this thing out. Ah! Damn it! One of them ambushed me from behind. Okay, so it turns out I can actually turn around in this blizzard, which definitely helps when trying to escape these violent things. Especially since they keep stunning Godzilla when he tries to use his atomic breath. Speaking of the enemies, they aren't too difficult to kill, but there's really no point in trying to kill all of them since they can overpower Godzilla with their sheer numbers alone. It also doesn't help that they don't drop any health. Oh, Jesus. It looks like these things are also killing the other creatures. I hope I can get out of here soon. Okay. The intense music is gone, so I think I finally escaped those freaks. Alright, seems like that blizzard has moved on now and... oh god damn it, one of those violent creatures is back. Hopefully an atomic breath will kill it. Wow, the atomic breath really did just decimate that thing instantly. It would have been nice if I could have used it during the blizzard sequence, but oh well, at least it dropped a bunch of health. And that's just one valley level done. After the intensity of those violent things chasing me in the blizzard, I'm a little worried about what the rest of Serped has in store. Since I haven't used him in a bit, I'll take the extremely overpowered Yongari into the Stalactite and Introspection levels. The Stalactite level takes place inside some sort of icy cavern with, you guessed it, stalactites on the roof. There's also some stalagmites on the bottom though, so I don't know why this place isn't just called an ice cave or something. Anyways, the enemies here seem to be the same ones from the GLACEIR levels, barring the flying enemies obviously. Platforming has also, sadly, returned. In terms of new enemies, there's this deceptively fast spiky slug thing, but I can pretty easily outrange it by just kicking it to death. Unfortunately, the stalactites at the top actually damage me if I jump into them, which is gonna make platforming even more annoying. On the bright side, getting damaged by them still pushes me back, so I don't have to worry about Yongari falling into a pit because of that. There's also these spiky things that attack by jumping towards me, kinda like those hopping enemies from Metroid. They're not too difficult because Yongari is still stupidly strong. I haven't mentioned it yet, but the music in these levels is really nice. It's kinda like Serped's board music, but more calm. I could totally just lie down and relax to this music. There's also not that many enemies here. I've already been through like 3 of the stalactite levels pretty quickly, though that's certainly helped by Yongari's strength. I've reached the end of the last stalactite level, and there's this humanoid wolf thing. I assume it's the mini-boss here. I can't imagine Yongari will let this fight last long though. Surprisingly, this mini-boss can actually somewhat hold its own against Yongari, even if it's only using punches and kicks. But of course, it pretty much instantly dies to Yongari's fire breath. Kinda wishing I had a monster like Yongari during the constant mini-bosses in Neograb now. Anyways, onto whatever the introspection level will be. The introspection level starts outside what seems to be a temple. There also isn't any music playing, oddly enough. I assume the thing in the center is the door, so I'll just... why isn't Yongari moving? His sprite has also changed, but... what is this? Is this some kind of cutscene or something? What's going on?
You are such a disappointment. You know that? When I saw your battles, I thought surely you would have some intelligence, and that it might even be worthwhile to join your quest. But now I've realized that you're just a damn fool with more strength than he deserves. You're on a quest for someone you don't even know the name of, and you yourself don't even know the end goal. You're nothing more than hired muscle, and when you've given them what they want, they'll toss you aside and kill you. I've seen many failures across the galaxy, and you are by far the most pathetic. You are no hero. You're just a martyr. Use your brain for once in your life, and cease this mission.
What the hell just happened? Why the hell is Yongari gone now? What the hell was he talking about? Ugh, whatever. I guess I'll just take someone else to the introspection level and hope they don't just ditch me for no reason. Godzilla is closer, but I feel like I haven't used Gigan that much, so I'll take him over. On the way there, I went to the village levels and no one's here. Not a single sign of life anywhere. I hope they're okay. Alright, I finally made it to the introspection level with Gigan. There's still no music here, but I can still control Gigan, so I think everything's normal. When I walk up to the door, the game tells me to press up, so... Oh, I thought that would open the door, but I guess these are the rules of this temple. I'll try not to break anything, I guess? Well, I don't know how, but the door opened up now, so I suppose there's nothing left to do but head inside. Finally inside the temple, but there's still no music for some reason, or really anything present in here, aside from what I assume to be statues appearing occasionally in the background. Normally, I would expect the rest of the level to be like this, but knowing this ROM hacker, there's definitely something that's about to ambush me. I just have no idea when. There it is! Oh damn, it looks like a non-frozen version of one of the ransackers from the palace levels. The hell is it doing here though?
This land belongs to Lord Umbra now. Surrender or fall.
Oh crap, I didn't even realize that thing on the right came to life. There's a bunch of ransackers, or I guess Umbra soldiers, throughout the temple now, but the main two are the axe dinosaurs, who sometimes throw their weapon, and the spear birds, who use their long range annoyingly well. Thankfully, the statues of the temple seem to be handling these intruders decently enough. Unfortunately, the statues also see Gigan as a threat, so there's even more enemies for me to deal with here, such as this walker and that flying thing from earlier, both of which have Mega Drive looking floating body parts. There's also this humanoid statue enemy whose punches and kicks hit pretty hard. In fact, all of the enemies here do a lot of damage. Also, I forgot to mention it earlier, but there's music here now. It sounds a little ominous, honestly. The hopefully last type of Umbra soldier here is this bullhorn thing. It rams into me a bunch and seems to have a ton of health as well. The worst part is actually trying to hit it, as trying to with anything except the laser puts me in perfect horn range. Except even when I try to stay far away, it can just use its own laser from its mouth eye? Thankfully, the statues took notice of this thing and started helping me kill it, though it didn't drop any life, unfortunately. Well, I've seemingly reached the end of this level, or at least this section, because I've reached a door that I can go through. Entering that door brings me to this room with what looks to be the eyeball on a pedestal from the level's icon. I guess I'll interact with it and see what happens. Huh. Didn't expect a pop-up to confirm if I was really serious or not. I'll select yes, because I'm still not really sure why this level is called Introspection. Okay. The door's closed and the whole screen went dark except for the eyeball. The music is also gone now, replaced by some sort of humming sound. What is it gonna show here? What the hell is that? Is that a house? Is that my house? What? That's the car crash that... What the fuck? Is that me? What the fuck does it... No, just fucking stop. Stop! Stop!